I'll be honest, we were tracking everything and understanding nothing. My wife had multiple apps open. She was logging symptoms every few hours. She had charts, strips, temperature readings, and she was more anxious than she had ever been. And I remember thinking, how can someone doing this much work and still feel lost? Let that sink in for a minute. That question is what this entire channel is built around. Here's what most people assume. If you just track more, you'll eventually figure it out. More data, more tools, more apps, more symptoms logged, more TikTok advice, and the fertility industry has done a brilliant job in making you believe that. But what we discovered slowly and honestly a bit painful is that more tracking doesn't automatically mean more clarity. In fact, for a lot of women it means the exact opposite. Today I want to walk through 3 specific tracking mistakes that make your fertile window harder to find and not easy. These aren't about laziness, they are not about doing it wrong, they are about a system that was never designed to make you feel calm. So here's the first mistake: tracking too many symptoms. It starts innocently. You log your temperature, you note your cervical fluid, that makes sense. Then you start adding mood, energy levels, cravings, breast tenderness, that one twinge on the left side at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And before long, you are not tracking your cycle anymore. You are analyzing your entire existence. Every sensation becomes a clue. Every feeling becomes a potential sign. That's what's sometimes called symptom spiraling, and it's exhausting. But here's the honest truth. Most of those secondary symptoms are not reliable fertility signals. Mood changes, cravings, breast tenderness. These are all caused by stress, sleep, what you ate, or just normal hormonal fluctuation. When you log all of it, you're not getting more information, but you're generating more noise. And that noise creates anxiety and not answers. Your body does communicate its fertile window, but it uses a few clear signals to do it, not 50. When you try to decode everything, you end up trusting nothing. So the goal isn't to log every detail. The goal is to recognize the signals that actually matter. Fewer inputs, a better picture. Mistake number 2 is trusting the app's prediction more than your own body's pattern. I want to be clear here. Apps aren't evil. Some of them are genuinely useful starting points. But there's something important to understand about how most of them work. Most fertility apps predict your fertile window based on averages. They take your past cycle lengths, run them through an algorithm, and give you a window. The problem is, your cycle is not an average, it's yours. Stress can shift it. Travel can shift it. A bad week of sleep can shift it too. And when your real cycle doesn't match the app's prediction, one of 2 things may happen. Either you trust the app and ignore what your body is actually doing, or you trust your body and feel like something is wrong because it doesn't match the app. Either way, you lose confidence. And here's the thing, my wife would sometimes get a notification saying her fertile window had started already, but her body signals didn't match it at all. And instead of trusting what she could actually observe, she'd question herself. That's a really specific kind of confusion, because you've handed over your body's authority to a prediction engine. Then again, apps can be a helpful layer, but they work best when you already understand your body's real patterns. When you know what your signals actually look like, an app becomes a support tool, not the source of truth. Your body is the source of truth. And here's mistake number 3, layering too many tools at the same time. This one is really common, and honestly it makes complete sense why it happens. You are motivated, you want to do everything right, so you use an app and LH strips and temperature, and you are watching fertility TikToks and reading forum threads at midnight. Each tool feels like it's adding information, but here's what actually happens. Each tool also adds a new interpretation, a new set of rules, a new way to be wrong. Your app says one thing, your LH strip says another, your temperature chart looks different from the example you saw online. And now, you're not tracking your cycle. You are managing a small fertility operations center. And this is what I'd call mental noise. It's not that tools are bad individually. It's that when you layer too many systems on top of each other without a clear framework to connect them, they start to contradict each other. And contradiction creates doubt. Doubt creates anxiety. And anxiety makes the whole process feel impossible. What actually builds confidence is a small number of reliable signals understood deeply, not 10 tools understood shallowly. When you know how to read the 2 or 3 signals that genuinely indicate your fertility window, you don't need to cross-reference 5 different sources. You just know calmly. So if more tracking isn't the answer, then what is? The honest answer is simpler, more intentional tracking. Not less care, not less effort, just less noise. Your body has a few primary signals that genuinely reflect what's happening hormonally. Cervical fluid, basal body temperature, the cycle timing, and when you learn to read those 3 signals together as a pattern, something shifts and you stop guessing, you start recognizing, and recognizing feels completely different from guessing, right? I want to say something directly because I think it matters. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by tracking, that is not a personal failure. You were handed a set of tools that were designed to keep you engaged, not necessarily to make you feel calm. So the anxiety that you feel is a response to a system that produces confusion. It is not a reflection of your capability. You are not broken. You are not bad at this. You were just given too much noise and not enough signal. So imagine looking at your cycle data and actually feeling more calm, not because everything is perfect, but because you understand what you are seeing. Real cycles are messy. They shift, they surprise you. But when you understand the core signals, you can navigate that messiness without spiraling. That's the goal. Not perfect tracking, but calm understanding. You don't need to track every tiny detail to understand your body. You need to understand the right details. That's what body literacy actually means, and it's something any woman can build. If this resonated with you, then stick around. That's exactly what this channel is all about. We break down fertility tracking in plain English. No guru tone, no fear, just calm, practical education. And if you enjoyed this video, I'll see you in the next one.